are live. We are actually live, but changing our name to from Not Dead Yet Live Show to something else.
Yeah, I think we might do something else. So
It was a good concept, but it was a little long-winded to
yeah,
say Not Dead Yet Live Show.
I think there's two issues. First is that is a great saying, and we could have a segment in our show called Not Dead Yet Live or Not Dead Yet, because there's been many times, like when I was considering going back to school in my 50s, that I was thinking I'm too old, what it's a big investment, blah blah blah. And come, we just kind of pause and go, well, but I'm not dead yet. What am I waiting for? Like why would I wait to do this? So I think there's lots of moments in our lives like that.
Yeah.
So
Uh, so
all
since
right.
we're not dead yet live right now, let's come up with a new name.
Yeah. So
Why
I've
don't we
got a
talk about
list.
like why we decided to even do this show so people understand like what we're doing. Maybe they can weigh in
Right.
on some suggestions. But initially, Nancy came to where I live and she sat me down and said, we're gonna take a pen and paper out and we're gonna come up with a plan. We're gonna come up with some show that's gonna be revolutionary.
Right. Because we did a Wild Women with Wine show for a long time, and
Our audience was not exactly similar to us.
right. So we wanted to draw an audience of women, and men who really love women and are interested to know about women's lives and our stories, how our lived experiences, right?
Right,
Because oftentimes, and I can speak to this later, but we don't really understand another person's lived experiences until we can hear some of their stories.
right.
And so we find that storytelling is really important, and it's an enriching experience for everybody. The person sharing it and everybody else that gets to listen.
Absolutely. And weigh in on some suggestions even if they ask for advice.
Yeah. So we are trying to raise women's voices. And so some of the names that were on my list was
Do we need a
she's
drum roll, please?
yeah, drum roll. Okay. She speaks.
I like She Speaks.
Okay. Um, her journey.
Her journey is good too.
We're trying to shorten it. You get the gist.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know if you've got one word that we could use, that'd be great. But wise women.
I do like wise women as well.
Her life unfiltered.
Now that one is a little bit long too.
Okay. Um, power stories.
That can apply pretty much to anything.
Okay.
So it doesn't, specifically target women, I think.
Okay. Her voice.
Love it. What do you think?
I like that one too. Yeah. So, so I'm going to put a circle on that one. Her voice lifted.
Nice.
Yeah, not as good. Okay. Um, she shares.
That's like she sells by the seashore. No, it's way too much alliteration for me.
I was thinking that too.
Sheesh.
So
It sounds like
maybe not.
I-
But we could have some good tongue twisters that would
yeah,
come.
that's what it is.
All right. Um, let's see. Women's voices.
Eh,
Yeah, not so much. Okay.
doesn't
That's, I
grab
mean, this is what I want is like your
that
visceral
first reaction.
reaction. Yeah.
And yours and anybody that's in the chat right now. I
Right.
can't see the chat unless I go on my phone. Let me see if I
Yeah.
can go.
I'm trying to get into the chat here and see if there's anybody in there. And I don't see anybody yet. Um, okay. Sh did I say shared voices?
No, but I don't know if I like that either.
Okay.
Hmm,
Brave voices.
hmm, it's getting somewhere.
Okay. Voices connect.
Eh,
Yeah. Story sisters.
I like that one.
I
With
thought you
the
would like
story
it. Mrs.
sisterhood.
Elves is here. Mrs. Elves, we're trying to come up with a shorter name that's more impactful for the show. So
It
um,
tells exactly what we're doing.
right. So Story Sisters, okay. Now this one you could play with it, but bold her, like boulder, like a boulder, strong rock, solid as a
Well,
rock, but
my
bold
nick-
her.
my nickname is the Bulldog, so we could
Her,
just call each other
did I already
Bulldog.
said her journey. Okay. Um, um, did it say women unfiltered?
We-
Okay. Her, I don't like that one either. So we said, did we say lifted voices? No.
Yeah, we decided not to do
Yeah.
that.
Um, her voice. No. Empowered voices.
Hmm.
Bold voices.
Well, the problem with the ones that are just general voices, it could be any voice.
Right.
It could be,
Okay, so we have her journey, wise women, her voice,
and then we had a suggestion from my other friend,
and story sisters.
Story Sisters. I like a lot.
We had
What
wise women.
what are the one I sent you
It
earlier?
was women wise or something like that, but that's not good English. So, but wise women.
Wait,
I wouldn't want this to, you know, if you wouldn't think you were wise, like would you share your story? I want you
yeah,
to be inclusive.
right.
Mrs. Elves says woman to woman.
Ooh,
That's
oh,
good.
that's pretty good.
I'm gonna write that down. That's in the running. Woman to woman. Because there are so many topics that we can touch on. Karen and I are both very interested in hormone replacement therapy and menopause and perimenopause and all the different pauses in a woman's life and how how that impacts our quality of life.
Right,
And and then, all the different ages and stages. I have many young women in my realm that are in their, 30s or 40s that are just having that have kids. Actually, my three daughters have kids in different decades. So they're all at very different stages of
wow,
parenting, which is kind of interesting in one family when they're all about the same age.
that's not
So that is nuts. So, but they all have different questions and different needs. Like, how do you deal with being in the sandwich generation, right? Like you're taking care of your kids and you're taking care of aged parents. How do you do that? And how do you maintain a relationship in the midst of that? How do you maintain your health and your own career and do all of that without burning out or, having to give up something? So
right.
those are all things that I think we would love to hear women share their journey, their story, and how they figured it out, and where they fell down and where they picked themselves back up, right? Because we can learn by each other's struggles and then the solutions that we usually end up coming up with.
Exactly. So what do we got now?
So those are the things we've got. So I'll put those in the body of the video when I clean it up later on social
Take off
media.
your prep work.
Yeah, and I'll maybe I can even create a poll for the
Ooh,
name of the ones we came up with. And if you have other ones, Mrs. Elv, I know you've got more, so you can send us what you got. And then I love finding and sharing quotes from women, but pretty much any quotes of people that have lived real women's stories, Women United, real women's stories. I actually had put real women stories in our initial description, and I was corrected by younger people saying, "What's a real woman?"
Oh, please.
So I just said real life stories. I mean it's women's real stories, right? These aren't made up, but like what's a real woman? I mean, any woman who says that she's a woman's a real woman, right? So, so I thought, yeah, I don't want to imply that some women aren't real. Like if it's a famous person that has this great story, doesn't they're still real women having real lives and sharing their life stories.
Exactly.
Yeah. So women, but I like Women United. That's a good one too. So I love this. Malala is a very impressive woman to me. So young and so powerful and has done so much with such a short life. So, but she says, when the world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful.
Very nice.
I love that.
And here in this day and age, we can definitely listen to that.
Definitely. And I think our voice is really all we've got to share. Whether we put it in writing, whether we create art with it, it's a self-expression, and we really want to make sure that every women are feeling heard. I can't tell you how many women's chats I've been in on social media that are either feminist driven or that are just predominantly women that are chatting amongst themselves. And inevitably, it's inundated by men trying to tell us what we're feeling and thinking, doing the mansplaining thing. Have you had any issue with being mansplained, Karen?
I love it when I get those kind of comments because I just go off on them.
So how do you educate them?
I don't take anything seriously. I just don't. Some people are not even worth my discussion. If they're adamant about a certain president, I don't get into the discussion with them.
Yeah, it's probably best not to, right?
It's just better for me not to get all riled up. It keeps
Yeah,
me
and
sane.
I mean, I think that's good. I tend to get riled up. I have to admit, I'm a little bit of a firecracker sometimes.
A little bit of a
A
firecracker.
little bit, just a little bit firecracker.
Well,
And
I always like to think of like, is this really going to change how another person thinks? I
right,
don't think so. And no matter what I come up with, it's still not sinking in. So,
everybody has a what about ism, right? So,
yeah, what about this? Yeah,
right.
oh yeah. What about,
Yeah.
oh my God, things that
And I
I,
and I think, for me, the politics is no longer about politics. It's about uh, humanity and like what's happening to the human race in this,
right.
what is happening to human beings through these different belief systems, because it is it's morality, it's ethical, it's uh, bias, belief, um, uh, definitely how a person sees the world and their lived experiences, right? So, and their generation.
I am hoping that this is a wave. It's a big wave, maybe one of the biggest waves we had since I've been born.
Kind
But
of like a tsunami.
it's a tsunami wave. So I'm hoping that this will lead to a much more enlightened population of people when it finally waves through.
I hope so. And I mean, I do see more and more people trying to use their voices to bridge gaps, to open up dialogue. There's some interesting shows on now that where they have one person in the center that's like a liberal person, and they're surrounded by MAGA people, for example. And they each have to get up and individually debate with the person in the middle.
Mhm.
And these are, I mean, they're brave people to sit in the middle and do that, but they're usually very well spoken and very well informed.
Right, I'd be so nervous. They could put me in one of those like tic tac rooms, and like they put on, um, Trump is the worst president. Prove me wrong. And then I'm not able to come up with all these little things, but some of these people will
Yeah.
get into the chat and they know. So yeah, the young guys, they're really good at debating.
I think those are kind of interesting how they're intentionally putting themselves in a position of
MAGA environment.
contrary. Right. Right.
And I've seen it also the other way around, where someone is MAGA and they're, you know,
Oh yeah, that was just an example. I mean, it's all about the opposites, right?
we need
They'll
to come together, as the Beatles would say. Come
right.
together right now.
I think it's going to come down to humanity. Like, what do we want for humanity? What kind of humankind do we want to leave
I
behind?
mean, some people want to be led.
Right, right. Obvious people that want to be led by a dictator have never lived in a dictatorship or don't really understand the loss of freedoms that come with that.
Right.
But but yeah, I mean there are leaders and there are followers. That's just, it's like that it always life always requires the opposites to to bounce off of each other. I think it's when it's become so apparent that humankind is no longer kind, you know.
Yeah, I was going to buy a t-shirt that said, be kind.
I have lots of those. If you're gonna be any kind of human, be one who's kind.
Be kind,
Yeah.
kind.
Yeah.
Be kind of kind.
All right, so here's another Malala quote. I raise up my voice not so I can shout, but so those without a voice can be heard. We cannot succeed when half of us are held back.
We can't.
No. No, and I think every country, every land, every grouping of people over time has discovered that the more inclusive, the more egalitarian a society becomes, the better educated a society becomes, the happier a society becomes. When you oppress any groups of people, you create a division, a big division that the haves and the have-nots, the cans and the cannots, and that's going to lead to war, always, right? So bringing these things together. Maya Angelou, love her.
Love her. That's my quote is when someone shows you their true colors, believe them.
Right. Yes. Says you may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. I'm trying very hard to live by that today because I do feel like some days the what's happening in the world, it's just too much, and I feel like it pushes me down when I'd rather feel lifted up. And so doing the show with you, Karen, has definitely been a lift up, is to be able to come out and use our voices in a healthy way and try to give women a stage, a platform, a loving gathering so that they can share what's on their mind and heart and how their experiences in life have shaped them.
I think it's important that women have close friends with other women.
I think we would all agree with that. I think Mrs. Alb agrees with that too. Yeah. Every woman's success should be an inspiration to another. We're strongest when we can cheer each other on. That's Serena Williams.
Yeah, it's like a rising tide,
Mhm.
floats all boats.
floats all boats. I think there's a belief that women tear each other down, that women are deconstructive with each other. They're catty, they're jealous, they don't support each other.
You know
Have
what I say to those women?
you found that?
I say, fuck them, Bucky. And I found that I was caught up in that many times in many decades, especially where I was living, and it was a very competitive kind of situation as far as who had a better job, who was more successful monetarily, blah 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 blah. It's easy to get caught up in that stuff. Then I decided, you know what? A rabbi once said, if you have 5 friends that you can count on your fingers, 5 true friends, you're blessed. And I live by that. I got rid of all the riffraff of friends that were not really my friends, and I just kept the true friends, the true friends that aren't jealous of you or lift you up and are always there for you. And then I find that makes me want to be a better friend to them.
Exactly. Exactly. There's a word that I've learned through my sexology practice training and world is compersion. And I think we've talked about it before in other shows. But it's a powerful word when you really when you feel it.
Mhm.
And it's the joy that you can receive from someone you love being joyful when it's not your doing.
Yeah.
And the example I've used often is um, parenting. That when your kids are little and you have a holiday like Christmas where there's a Santa Claus that's delivering gifts, right?
Mhm.
And so the parents don't get any credit for that. They're it's a creditless event, but they take such joy in seeing their kids happy,
Yes.
even though they are not getting the credit for bringing the happiness.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And so I think there's compersion and just knowing that somebody you love is happy, they're having a great day, and it has nothing to do with you. You just get to be happy because they're happy.
Yeah. Or watching something that's funny on TV and the person that you're with is laughing their asses off. And you're like, it's okay. They're having a really good time.
Yeah, I'm so happy you're happy. Right.
Sometimes it's annoying, but yeah. Sometimes it's about a sports team that I'm sick of, but yeah.
That's true compersion when you can be happy for their happiness and it's not something that makes you happy at all.
No.
Right? That's true compersion. But for me, that's like the ultimate love that you can really just genuinely feel happy for their happiness. Didn't
It's
matter how
hard.
they did it.
It is very hard to find friends that are absolutely like that,
Yeah,
not in some way, shape, or form jealous.
right. Right. So I think women by nature are more drawn to the support of other women. We've been in tribe formations since the beginning of time, creating a community, supporting each other, helping with, raise kids, deal with life, support each other's journeys. And I think the world has become more separated with the internet, which we're taking advantage of today to decrease that separation.
Yeah,
But I think we
I
need
find
more.
actually it keeps me, um, I find that the internet, although it has its divisiveness, it brings me like in constant, like I will like share little funny videos back and forth with some of my friends back in Chicago.
Mhm.
And I find that that keeps me in touch with them.
Right. It's a connector.
The
Yeah.
connector, which you didn't have before, unless you picked up the phone. It's different when you're just sharing certain things. I mean, it's not in lieu of a friendship, but it can help keep you connected with people
Yeah.
and make new friends that way too.
So Mrs. Elb says, because people have become empowered and are demanding their rights and the world has progressed, conservatives are afraid. And that's why they are pushing in the opposite direction.
Hmm.
I wonder though, so the opposite of compersion would be that what other people are doing and what rights other people have, what other people are enjoying, if you're not a part of their life, if you don't know them even, how does it impact you? Like, where do people think that because somebody in some other state, a man is married to a man, how does that impact them?
It's amazing how many people feel like that's the main issue here.
Right, right,
Or having tampons in the bathroom.
right,
Call Tim, tampon Tim.
right.
You know, this is the thing you're concerned about in the world? Having some tampons in a bathroom?
Well, and that's the thing that somehow is impacting your day and your life and your emotions right now when it absolutely has nothing to do with you.
No.
That's where the
Probably at one
mindfulness
point or
thing comes
another,
in.
you probably shared a bathroom with a sibling, and they probably had a tampon in there, and you didn't say a word about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think sadly there's just a lot of uneducated people about like why they're tampons, right? I mean, there's still a lot of ignorance around women's bodies, women's anatomy, women's functions. And so the idea of a tampon is just too much, right? But they're in all bathrooms, first of all, because sometimes girls use the boys' bathrooms. Sometimes, if it's a trans boy, they're going to need to have that.
This is what the people are so frightened about. This trans person's gonna go in your bathroom and it's gonna freak everybody out.
It- and that doesn't happen. I mean, I tell people, trans people have always been in your public bathrooms. Did you know that? They've always been in there. So just the fact that you weren't aware of it should tell you that it's because they fit in.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay. So, so
more quotes.
more quotes. All right. Got a couple more here.
And if
So,
you guys have quotes, send them our way.
yeah, put them in the chat. I can see the YouTube chat. Think, not sure. Maybe nobody's in the other chat. So, should be. Okay. Should be good. Let's see. You just go after your wish. As soon as you start to pursue a dream, your life wakes up and everything has meaning.
Who said that?
A person by the name of Barbara Shear. I don't know who that
Oh,
is.
I thought that was your quote.
But it's
Nancy Sutton Pierce.
I could slap my name on that. But I think when we find our passion, that is the essence of who we are.
And if
Is
you could
what
make money with your passion, it's even better.
That's great. But oftentimes that happens accidentally, because you're true to your nature, you're true to your gifts.
And you're enjoying your life.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's contagious.
Yep. Your dream doesn't have an expiration date. Take a
Oh,
breath and try again.
it's beautiful.
I always say sexy doesn't have an expiration date. And I,
And by the way, you're looking rather sexy right now.
well, thank you. My little summer dress. It's been hot out. So yeah, I think we buy into a lot of beliefs. I would love to do a whole show with somebody about old beliefs. And our job as adults is to pause and re-examine our beliefs. Because most of our beliefs were planted as a child and in our young formative years.
Right.
And when we as adults don't stop and rethink them and ask, is that still true? Does that still fit who I am or who I want to be?
Yeah, and you
Do
might
you
end up,
remember having those moments in your life where you went, wait a minute, I don't believe that?
oh yeah, absolutely. I especially with what I was wearing, my parents had a big thing about what we were wearing and what was presentable. And yeah, and I was a little rebellious.
You rebellious? So what's the biggest rebellion that you did?
Oh my God, what a question is that? I've done plenty of
With your
rebellion
clothing.
with my clothing. Yeah, just wearing really short skirts or low cut tops or whatever, and having a parent or so saying, "You look like a whore. You're not going out of the house like that."
Whoa, slut shaming already.
Maybe they didn't say whore, maybe they said something else, but it was something that as soon as I broke free, all hell what I just wore whatever I wanted to wear. Did you have any instances similar to this?
I did. I went the other way though. And I've been
You're
thinking,
like, dressed like a whore. No, I'm not. I'm gonna dress like a librarian.
I've been thinking about it lately and wondering how it coincides with some other events that were occurring in my life. But when I was in junior high school, I believe it was, the trend was to wear boys' clothes. And so a lot of us girls, I'd make my mom take me to buy boys jeans or cords or whatever,
I
and
have
I
never
and
heard
I'd
this
wear
before.
my dad's like oversized shirts.
Really?
Uh-huh. And it was and so I dressed very non-binary as, what are you, 12, 13, 14 in there?
You're a trendsetter there.
Yeah, I guess I was non-binary before anybody knew that
Yeah,
word.
you were definitely non-binary before anybody knew about non-binary.
Right? And my mom had a fit because she's like, I always wanted a little girl so I could dress my little girl like a little girl. And I go, I'm still a girl.
I should have hit
I don't
your
want to
mother, you
dress in
had my
boy
dad.
stuff. I've never liked ruffles, ever. Not a ruffle girl.
Really?
No, no, no. So yeah, so I liked the boys' clothes. I did get confused because the zipper was on the other side.
Yes. Or you got Annie Hall.
Yeah.
Diane Keaton was dressed like, she's always dressed with like a little tie or whatever.
Hmm. I mean, we think about it. Boys' clothes always have pockets.
Oh,
They,
now boys are walking around with man purses.
right? Yeah, yeah, because they're probably wearing clothes that they've gotten rid of the pockets. All right, let's see. Here's another one. Although no one can go back and make a brand new start, anyone can start from now and make a brand new ending. Oh, I love that. That one hit you, huh?
Brand new ending. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I like that either, though. And
But I
then
think
brand new.
we can change the trajectory of our story,
Hmm,
right? We think we are the story that's already happened. I'm all who I am is what's already happened, instead of deciding that who I am isn't done yet, not dead yet. And so I can change who that's going to be at the end of my story.
I gotcha.
Don't like that. Still doesn't hit you right. All right, no
No, something
country.
about the end
Yeah,
in quote didn't hit me right, but
didn't
I may
like.
be
Yeah,
misinterpreting.
nobody likes endings. We like happy endings, right?
Oh yeah.
No country can ever truly flourish if it stifles the potential of its women and deprives itself of the contributions of half of its citizens. Any idea who said that?
Gandhi.
Close, Michelle Obama. Close.
Can you repeat that quote?
No country can ever truly flourish if it stifles the potential of its women and deprives itself of the contributions of half of its citizens.
Love it.
Well said, Michelle. A gender equal society. This one should stir up some people. A gender equal society would be one where the word gender does not exist and everyone can be themselves.
Beautiful.
Gloria Steinem.
Wow.
I think
She
that's
was
beautiful.
really ahead of her time.
Yes. And this one is really good. Feminism is not about making women stronger. They are already strong.
Hmm.
It's about altering how society views that strength.
Who was that?
G.D. Anderson.
Oh, GD. Oh,
GD, yeah. Good old GD. And the last one I'll share is, or maybe the second to last. One child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world.
maybe.
Malala.
Oh, that's Malala again. You love this Malala.
I do. She's impressive. And this goes along with Michelle. These are her two last ones. When girls are educated, their countries become stronger and more prosperous. That is true. That has been proven.
Yes.
Educated boy, it'll change it, or they say he'll change his wealth. Educated girl, and she changes the wealth of her country.
Hmm.
I realized that the barrier to girls' education isn't just resources. It's also about attitudes and beliefs. The belief that girls simply aren't worthy of an education, that women should have no role outside the home, that their bodies aren't their own, their minds don't really matter, and their voices simply shouldn't be heard.
What is this from The Handmaid's Tale?
Michelle Obama. She's saying that is the barrier to girls' educations. And that's a perfect segue to that's why we're doing this show, because
That's why.
women's voices
Women's
are
voices.
critical to the evolution of a prosperous, constructive, um, uh,
Open-minded.
open-minded, beautiful world. And if we want to see the beauty, people need to be more collaborative with people, regardless of ethnicity, race, ability,
Legend.
religion, all of those things that we use to separate us, when if we would just see beyond that little thing and look at the human being, we could have a pretty fabulous earth. So we're here to do that.
Namaste.
Namaste. So how do you define the word namaste?
Oh, I have
Do you
no
have
clue.
do you
The
have a
light within you is a light within me, and like, I don't know.
yeah.
You would think I would know it since it's single times the same thing, but for whatever reason, the brain doesn't, it's all mush up here. And the light within me honors the light within you. And
Yeah.
then just go do a happy baby. What's that?
I think it really is what I just said. It's the light in me sees and honors the light in you. And it doesn't matter what color you are, what gender you are, what sexuality you are, how you identify yourself, how rich you poor you are, where you're from. It doesn't matter. We all have the light. We just
Yeah.
need to be willing to see it in each other. That's why that namaste is beautiful. Plus, you just do namaste instead of shaking hands and you don't spread germs that way either. Nurse Nancy comes out.
Absolutely. Well, So we're gonna have a little poll and you'll find out the new name. We're rebranding even though we never really branded.
But I think what we want is a name that's going to catch the attention of
Very
women.
simple. Very simple.
Yeah. And let women know that this is a space for women to come and share their stories and feel completely safe and valued and
And
have their
feel
stories heard.
namaste.
Hmm?
And feel namaste.
Feel namaste. Yeah, we want to feel some namaste. I have a shirt that says namaste in bed.
The light within you is honoring the light within another
No,
person.
I think it's slang for nah, I'm gonna stay in bed.
Oh, my God.
Gotta laugh. So Karen, what's up with you? Where can people find out more about you?
Oh, Karen Lee Potter everywhere.
Karen
And
is everywhere.
Sex Talk with My Mom, my podcast, where we talk about, we're lately interviewing clowns. It's a lot of fun.
All right, so tell us, you did something really exciting this last weekend.
Oh, we went to Mother's Day.
No, about the 500th episode.
Oh, that was last week. Yes,
Last
we
week.
had our 500th episode of Sex Talk with My Mom, the podcast, 500 episodes.
That's impressive.
Almost 10 years of having a podcast with my son where we talk about anything, making the uncomfortable conversations comfortable.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a whole family gathering at the studio.
That's
Everybody
great.
participated, including our texts that we got from our sneaky freaks. If you want to be a sneaky freak, all you got to do is go over to wherever you listen to podcasts or watch podcasts, and you too can become a sneaky freak.
I have the t-shirt.
You got the t-shirt to prove it.
Tank
And,
top, I guess.
and Nancy, where can everybody find you?
My website has all the connections, which is drnsp.com or drnancysuttonpierce.com. And I am a clinical sexologist. I have a private practice. I counsel people, couples, men, women, solos, people looking to have a more authentic life, and learn how to reduce their own judgment to themselves and shame of themselves. And once we do that, I don't know if you found this, but once we address our own personal embarrassment, shame, and blame to ourselves, we're less likely to do that to others.
Really nice.
Yeah. So
So
it,
that's where they find you.
yep, that's where they find me. I'm on social media, but you can, the YouTube channel, the Not Dead Yet Live YouTube channel, we're going to be kind of renaming and at least putting out more welcoming for women. So send your women to us. Any woman you know that you know has a story, or women that just want to hear and support other women's stories. That's what we're here for.
So for now, find us at on Nancy's website
Yes. Yep.
and
drnsp.com.
prnsp.com.
All right. And thank you for making the time to watch, participate in the chat.
Right.
And Karen, thank you always for
Thank you always for
showing up.
organizing.
All right. Much love.
Love you.
Remember, every day you wake up, you get to be either a warning or an example, or never neutral. You get to choose.
And remember, always follow your gut.
Absolutely. All right.
I got to
Namaste.
go to the bathroom right now.
Namaste. Bye.